Hello, welcome to TRS 233. I'm Neil, and today me and my group members are going to talk to you a little bit about getting ready to drive. We're going to talk about basic maintenance, brakes, tires, and other things that are important that you may not already know. Starting off, one of the most important things to look at is your tires. They keep you in contact with the ground and help you control your vehicle in a safe manner. Two important things to look at are your tread and your tire inflation. Proper tread gives you better control of your vehicle. Proper inflation can save you as much as 3% every year on fuel, and in addition, it will keep your tires from wearing out too fast, causing you to have to buy new ones. Now, you may ask, how much do I inflate my tires? I don't know that. Good question. There's two places. First one is right here in the door sill. It's a very common spot. Right here, as I can see, it will tell you the tire load and for front, rear, and your spare tire and how much you should have them inflated. Right here, it says 37 PSI because the tires on this vehicle are a little bigger. Now, there's a second spot, and that is on the actual tire. Let's go see what it has to say. Now, there's a lot of information on your tire. For example, right here, it shows me the name of the tire. This is a BF Goodrich. Then, up here, it will show you the actual size of your tire. Now, when looking for the load rating, you just kind of have to look all over the tire, but then it'll usually say load range, and then you can see it right here. For example, this one says a maximum of 50 PSI. It's important not to go over 50 PSI because that can cause your tires to be unsafe and potentially explode. Another thing you should do before driving is visually inspect your tire. Things to look out for that may cause an unsafe tire condition are cracking, bulging, uneven wear, or a potential puncture. Now, an example of this would be simply looking at your tire and you could see if there was a nail or any other road debris stuck in it. That could cause it to pop or run low. The final thing to look at when looking at your tires is how old they are. This is especially important to know if you've never changed the tires on that particular vehicle or if it's a new vehicle to you. Now, the way you can tell that is a code right here. Since the year 2000, that code has been a 4-digit code. Previously, it was 3. This just gives you a little more information to the specific year. So, right here, there's the letters DOT followed by a 4-digit code. This code is 1114. So, that tells you it's made in the 11th week of 2014. For example, if it was 2213, that would tell you it was made in the 22nd week of 2013.
Before you begin to check the fluids under your hood, it's important to know how to open your hood. On this particular model of vehicle, there are 2 latches on either side of the hood, one here and one on the far side. There's also a small lever underneath the hood here that you must push to the right before opening the hood. Before you begin to drive, it's important to know how to check your oil. In this particular model of vehicle, the oil dipstick is here, next to the engine. What you need to do is pull it out and wipe it off. Check the color of the oil. This oil is relatively clear, so you know it's in good shape. Then, stick it back in. And then remove it one more time to see what the level is. If it's up over your designated notch, your oil is good to go. Before you drive, there are other important fluids that you should make sure that you are aware of their levels. You have your power steering fluid here. This cap here is the radiator cap, and you should not touch that relatively soon after your vehicle is touched or you will get burnt. You have your engine coolant fluid over here, your windshield wiper fluid over here, and all the way in the back here behind this horn is your brake fluid. It's important to note that you should not put any fluids into other receptacles where they don't belong. For example, you should not put water into your washer fluid before winter as it will freeze. Same thing, you can put water in your engine coolant in an emergency, but it is highly recommended that you don't do so. And if you do, make sure that you have a mechanic professionally winterize your vehicle before winter starts.
Before getting ready to drive, it's also important to make sure your lights are in good and working order. Obviously, your headlights, both turning signals, and your fog lights. An important thing to know is when it gets really foggy, use your fog lights and do not put your high beams on. That can really reduce your visibility and cause you to wreck. Before getting ready to drive, it's also very important to check your rear lights. This can prevent someone from rear-ending you and let them know when you're slowing down. Now, most vehicles are equipped with 2 tail lights. However, some vehicles are equipped with a 3rd, particularly if they're higher off the ground. Now, before you start, it's important to make sure that your brakes work and also both turning signals. And then you're right over there. Now, before starting your vehicle, there's several important things to do. First is, put your seatbelt on. Make sure that it lays flat and there's no twist or anything in it. The second is make sure that your driving space, your windshield, is not blocked by anything such as parking passes or anything loose that may roll around due to changes in acceleration. Also, make sure you can see your gauge cluster very well and there's nothing blocking it. Now, you're ready to go. Put your foot on the brake, or brake and clutch if it's a manual transmission vehicle. Grab the key and start it up. And you're ready to go. Now, before you start moving, you have to know how to get moving. In an automatic transmission, you simply place it in drive, let off the brake, and you're good to go, as long as your parking brake is not engaged. Now, in a manual transmission, it can be different, because the shift patterns vary according to your vehicle. For example, this one is a 6-speed, like so, with reverse being all the way over and down to the right. Now, in different vehicles, this varies. For example, some, to get into reverse, you push down, over, and up, and some are only 5 speeds. Now, not all vehicles have the shift pattern on the shift knob. So it's important to know you can take it and just feel for it. And it's important to know that before you ever get started out, because you need to know how to go through the gears. Now, when you come to a stop, it's important to engage your parking brake before you let off the brake. Now, while talking about parking brakes, it's important to know the different kinds. The first is the one located right here. Another location for it is down next to your left foot. And a third location, which is on a lot of models like BMWs, is the electronic parking brake, which is actually a button located somewhere in this area. Another way to know if your parking brake is engaged, other than just by feel, is when it is engaged, normally a light will flash on the dash like that. Then when you disengage it, it goes away. Another important thing to know about your vehicle is whether or not it is equipped with ABS, which is anti-lock braking system. This allows you to maintain steering while under heavy braking, also known as it keeps your brakes from locking up. A good way to tell this is a light will appear on the dash in a lot of vehicles when you start it. In this particular model, look in the top right of the cluster and you will see it. Before setting off, it's important to know all of your vehicle's controls, including interior controls. The first is your locks. They're generally located on the door. The second is your hazards. It is indicated by this red triangle. Sometimes that location is on top of the steering wheel right there. The next to know is your air conditioning, controlled by these knobs, your windows, as well as your lights. It is generally located on a stalk, right here. Sometimes it is on this side, but in this particular vehicle, this controls the windshield wipers, as well as your wiper fluid, by pulling it. Other important things to have before you set off are driver's license, proof of insurance, and vehicle registration. Now, these are important to have because If you get pulled over for something like a speeding violation, you are required by law to have them. Now, it is recommended to keep your license in your purse or your wallet, and your registration and proof of insurance I recommend keeping in one small folder so you're not stressed when you're trying to find them. Many people keep them in their glove box. I keep mine in this compartment so it's easy to find. When planning a trip across state lines, it's good to brush up on all the laws, particularly if you have a firearm with you. If you have your concealed carry in Kentucky, many states don't recognize it out of the state. In addition, some traffic laws vary state by state, so it's good to brush up on those as well.